Welcome to the DLLS Rangers Weekly Podcast, now part of the All City Network. Hit the subscribe button for YouTube and also become a DLLS diehard at www.alldlls.com. Now here's Jeff and John. Hey everybody, welcome to the DLLS Rangers Weekly Podcast. This is episode number 17. Today, Texas Rangers left-handed pitcher Cody Bradford is going to join us, but right now, Jeff and I are going to talk about some things going on with the Big League Club. Hit that subscribe button down below. Hit the like button if you like it. Share it with your friends. Go over to the DLLS_sports YouTube channel. Hit all the stations there, guys. They've got the Mavs. They've got the Cowboys. Cowboys are looking for a coach. There's some good stuff. I've been watching that every day, trying to figure out which way they're going to go on that. You got the Stars also. Jeff covers TCU. Other things that they're covering. DLLS is your new all sports in the DFW Metroplex. Get on board with DLLS Sports. But, Jeff, we got to talk about the Rangers, what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, that's kind of what I know best.
And they are Sasaki-less. They are not going to be getting Sasaki.
Yeah. You know, I think I don't know what the Rangers were told. They haven't said anything about it. They're going to wait till the process is over, and even then, don't know what's going to come out. But I think maybe it comes down to geography and then opportunities beyond. Baseball. I just, he can't get paid more than,
league minimum
this year. And the bonus money is from the international allotment, and it's not going to be a ton of money. And so, what else can a team do for him? Well, Toronto, for instance, is owned by Rogers Communications, which is this huge company in Canada. And remember that they were the runners-up on Shohei Ohtani. And so they can make Roki Sasaki the face of Canada, with their advertising and all of that stuff. The Dodgers, they just have a shitload of money, and they're gonna spend it however they want. And even if it's deferred, there's going to be opportunities. Though I would think that a Japanese company can only have so many players as its spokespeople. So I don't know if Ohtani's taking all of the Japanese money there. San Diego is just San Diego. It's just beautiful. There's the Yu Darvish connection, and it's not far from L.A. If he needed to jet up and shoot a commercial or something, and it's a good team. The Blue Jays aren't very good. Obviously, the Dodgers are excellent. Now, not to say that there weren't marketing opportunities in DFW. There's a Toyota headquarters, not far from where you live, John.
Yep.
And I really though think that when he finally sees Globe Life Field, I think he might kick himself a little bit. Obviously, wherever he goes, he's going to be happy and
sure.
done all of his homework. But I just can't envision somebody wanting to play at Rogers Center over Globe Life Field,
right.
and so we'll see. I'm not sure why. Potentially.
Well, they never got a meeting in house like Toronto did, like San Diego did, and I think without a doubt,
Dodgers have to. Yeah.
I think
if he had come to Arlington, it would have been a big factor. And we said that on last week's show, but he didn't. And the fact of the matter is that the Texas Rangers are exactly the same as they were last week when they thought they still had a shot at it.
Sure.
They hadn't penciled him into to the rotation. They're going to have 8 starters probably in spring training competing for 5 spots.
Right.
So
they hadn't committed a lot of international money yet. So now,
right.
It wasn't like they had guys in limbo waiting to get signed because they didn't really go for the top prospects right away because they kind of put their eggs in this basket. Now they can go out and maybe pick up some of the offshoots that are going to get left out.
Yeah, and that's already starting to happen. The Dodgers have lost at least one guy committed to the Dodgers. Who shortstop? He went and flipped to the Padres, or I'm sorry, to the Pirates, who are amassing a pretty darn good little international class. The Rangers are busy signing guys right now.
Yeah,
Some of these are they're not necessarily. I guess they're being leaked, although it's the teams aren't doing it. It's the players or their trainers who are doing it, sending the pictures to various outlets. But yeah, Hanley Ramirez's son has signed with the Rangers. Hansel
Alex
Ramirez
Rodriguez
has signed. Alex Rodriguez, a kid from Cuba, and then John Duran, Jhon, he signed for $500,000. And then Elorki Rodriguez, haven't seen that any posts on old Elorki, but he's probably the Rangers' best prospect. So yeah, they aren't at the top of the market like they were last year with Santana and Curly Martha and Yolfran Castillo. Although Yolfran Castillo, it's not like he signed for $5 million; he signed for $600,000. So some of these guys are they may not be on top 50 lists or top 100 prospect lists.
Doesn't matter.
The Rangers have a couple, but they're a little further back. But you never know what's going to happen with these players.
Look, you got to watch some of those names. If you go to that international top 100 list, there are a couple of guys that have been penciled in for Dodgers or Padres or even Toronto that might be sitting up there. And let's be honest, nobody, if they end up getting, that's why Sasaki probably needs to get this done in the next few days. He's got till the 23rd. Is that right?
23rd.
To the 23rd. Maybe the teams will, they would like to get it done because some of those guys, like the Padres, have a guy penciled in that was in the top 10. He's not going to go to the Padres anymore. That's going to change because they're going to use all their money on Sasaki. And understandably, nobody, but there's some teams that could pick that up and pick that off for sure.
Yeah. And all the teams are evaluating those players who are kind of in limbo. And I'm sure right now they're saying, hey, if you stick with us and we don't get them, we'll give you more money. For your time in trouble. But the Dodgers apparently have asked some prospects to consider not signing until next year. And apparently a couple of them are like, no, I don't think we're going to do that. They want their money now. They don't.
Sure.
They want to start the journey. And,
absolutely.
You got to be a real big Dodgers fan, I guess, if you're going to do that. But there are 29 other teams out there that give you an opportunity to be in the major leagues.
Yep. Now, the other big thing that we want to talk about, we do want to get into more player stuff, but you guys touched on this. News has broken. It broke kind of yesterday and then was official today. Victory Plus is going to be one of the outlets, not just the only outlet, but they are going to be the streaming service for the Rangers, and there's going to be – now – is that I guess everyone's saying it now, $100 for the season?
Apparently that's on the Victory website. Yeah, $100 for the season. There'll be some it'll start in the games will start in March. The Rangers are going to have some spring games that they're going to broadcast. And then every non national game you'll be able to watch on your telephone or a streaming service. $100, that's a pretty dadgum good price, I think.
Yeah. The question I'm going to have, and I don't know if if this is answered yet, and I watched some of John Bradigan really touched on this in the Daily Show today, the live show. If you guys go back and watch that, John has been in this business for years, big part of the Daily Show there. He explained this, but I didn't get a chance to hear all of it. One of the questions I would have as a guy that goes to see my kid at college or goes to different places, if I'm out of town, will I be able to watch the game on my Victory app? Because sometimes you get out of market and it doesn't work.
You will. There's not blackouts with this. You will get to see every game.
That's not a national game. Yeah,
that's not a national game, right? So that's a big deal, and that's something that has befuddled these Rangers fans who have cut the cable, cut the cord, cut the cable cord, and just we're hoping to stream these games, and even to an MLB network, or the MLB app. If you go out of your area, it's still based on your home address, not your location. So if you're in the Rangers territory but you're in Montana, can't watch the game. So it's kind of a screwy deal. It's been a screwy deal. And so anyway, yes, that has been remedied by this app.
Okay. So I just wanted, because my uncle, who was in town, he had to come in for a doctor's appointment, stay with me. He's kind of like a brother of mine. He's only about 6 years older than me. He said that he gets the Victory app for Stars games, but in New Mexico where he lives, it tells him he's out of area for Stars games.
Well,
but it's
okay.
free.
Yeah, I don't know. Just that is the free app. Yeah, I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but my understanding, and maybe I'm wrong.
Well, that's a question we ought to ask, and we'll find out.
And I think John answered it, and he was talking about so much stuff. It's fascinating. I was just sitting there listening.
Yes, I had to go because the phone was ringing. You know where my office is, and I was dealing with stuff, and I'm sitting there trying to listen to it, and I'm like, I'm loving what I'm hearing. John said the guy that's running everything, he knows him personally. He puts a good production together that he's worked with for years. John Radigan knows this stuff. That's his.
Absolutely.
He comes from the TV side of deal.
100%, and he knows all these people, whether they're working for Victory or for the Mavs or going to work for the Rangers. John Radigan, there's no better source on this, honestly. It's just informative and great stuff, and so I appreciate that. He's my co-host on the Daily Show, and I can just sit there and listen.
Yeah, he's a good teammate. John and I have gotten to know each other, especially even on my part-time job. I got to know him more because getting to be around him a little more. I just love John. One of the nicest guys in the world, too. Man, just flat out give you the shirt off his back, just friendly.
Yeah.
But, man, he knew his stuff, and I was trying so hard to hear it all, and I kept having to do, my day job. This isn't my full-time gig. And so I'm like, I missed that, and you wanted to jump back, so I'll have to go back and listen to it all. But,
do. Yeah, if you guys are watching this, it's Wednesday. This should be out probably tonight or tomorrow, but
the audio will be out later today.
Go check out the Wednesday edition at DLS_sports at YouTube, and John will he'll answer all your questions. Basically, he covered it all. Yeah.
Okay, well, and so do we think are they still in the market then for a closer, or is that still kind of we in a wait and see? We're going to wait where this market falls now. Once this is over,
a few things have been said in the last week that would indicate that the Rangers are basically waiting for the price to come down. They haven't said, "Hey, we want the price to come down." They've said, we're open to it. We like the five guys. The 5 guys we've signed. But you kind of look at various websites that track payrolls, and the Rangers aren't. They have enough cushion between where they are now and that $241 million luxury tax threshold that
they can go get one.
That they can go get them a closer, and a good one too. I still think that Kirby Yates is the guy. No, he's not going to have a 1.17 ERA again, in all likelihood. And yes, he is going to be 38 right before opening day, but he wants. I'm assuming he wants to be here. I know that the Rangers. I know 2 guys with the Rangers who want him back are named Bruce Bochy and Mike Mannix.
Yep.
Okay, so if you can work out maybe a 1 year deal for that, or 2 and 21. That's kind of been the number I've been throwing around. 2 and 21. He sure pitched last year like he's got 2 years left in him. So I think that ultimately something will get done with him. But the market, not a ton of closers have signed. You kind of look at the postseason last year, and boy, these big name closers weren't particularly good. And the teams who won the World Series of late, including the Rangers, have done so with not exactly Mariano Rivera. So I wonder if there's been a shift on the thinking of you got to have a lights out no questions asked, Trevor Hoffman, Rivera, Hall of Fame guy, or can you just find the hot hand? I mean, the guy who closed out the World Series for the Rangers was starting for the Dodgers was a starting pitcher.
Yeah, Walker Buehler.
For the Rangers, it was Josh Scoors who had pitched in the 7th and 8th inning the whole darn playoffs. So
went 3 innings to shut it out. Yeah.
Yeah, there might be a little bit of a shift here, and underlying all of this and how closers are viewed. But would you rather have would you rather go into the postseason with Emmanuel Clase or with some other guy, a setup guy for a career setup guy as your closer?
Yeah,
so
sure,
it's kind of it might be a matter of preference. Some of it is dictated by finances, but I think that the Rangers are still going to get them a closer.
Sure. Yeah, and there's still some internal candidates who could work their way into that role eventually, even if they signed a closer, but at least get up there. But I'd like to see them. Do you think they're settled in on? Because I think everyone's talk is maybe another right-handed bat somehow, but are they kind of settled in? Maybe they're just going to go with Duran and Foscue and maybe start it out that way, or are they still maybe looking there?
Yeah, I mean, it's you can make an argument that they could use another starter or another Jose Urena type, somebody who's going to could fill in the rotation, but it would give you a lot of good innings out of the bullpen. You could make an argument for that, but if they sign a closer, that's six guys with major league experience who they have added to the bullpen. You only get 8 relievers. Okay, so and when you look at the rotation, it's like these guys are short on innings. DeGrom's not going to throw 200 innings.
Nope.
Kumar Rocker isn't going to throw 200 innings. Cody Bradford, our guest, probably isn't going to get more than 125. I would think, just based on his innings last year.
Evo will be the closest.
You kind of you Evaldi and John Gray, and Tyler Mahle, he hasn't really pitched in 2 years. So they have need for multiple inning guys. So maybe like a Dane Dunning or Cody Bradford. If they don't make the rotation, they could be very serviceable and pitch a lot of innings every 5th day. Let's say, just be piggyback partners. Sure. And get going there. Now Hobie Milner and Sean Armstrong and Jacob Webb, they can all pitch more than an inning.
Sure.
And you're going to need a lot of that. But it's kind of interesting. If they do sign the closer, which I think they will, how's that going to play out? How are these innings going to be doled out?
Yeah, Bochy doesn't go, you're my 7th, you're my 8th, you're my 9th. He kind of goes off field. The way he did with Spores the very last game of the World Series just kept him going. Thought, okay, well, Josh told us he thought he was going out to face the right-hander in the 9th inning there to win the World Series, and looked over and nobody was coming to get him, and Boats just wrote it. This guy's throwing right and doing right, and we're just going to keep going.
Yeah. I mean, the hot hand it's a real thing, and
Bochy does that.
Yeah, he absolutely does that. He's got a feel for that, well-known feel for that. And, those teams that won the Giants teams that won the World Series, he had Brian Wilson, the first time around. And Sergio Romo. Sergio Romo wasn't like, you don't think of him. You never really thought of him as a great closer, So there were some, he was piecing some things together kind of like in 23 for the Rangers.
Yeah. Well, we want to get Cody in here?
I tell you what, real quick, the Rangers have confirmed their international signings so far. So I'm going to read them off to you. Now, some of these are 10,000 guys. Some of these are Elorki Rodriguez is the big one for $1.1 million. But I'll just read the whole list. All right. Dave Neely from the Bahamas, Jordan Diaz from Colombia, Alex Rodriguez. He's the Cuban who is
outfielder, right?
was declared a resident or sought residency in the Dominican. He's an outfielder. A guy named Wesley Castillo, Frederick Dulce, Emmanuel Figueroa. Another big one we talked about, Simon. Sabiel Zayas is another. Hansel Ramirez, who we talked about. Anyway, there's a pretty long list of guys. The $10,000 signees do not count against the cap. Or
kind of like the $20,000 free agents, right? That
Let me see. Let me count these out real quick. 5, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 guys. Most from the Dominican Republic and Venezuela, the Bahamas. They've done a good job over there in the Bahamas. And that's where Sebastian Walcott's from. Yeah. Of note, we talked about Hansel Ramirez as the son of Hanley Ramirez. The Dulce kid, Frederick Dulce, son of former MLB pitcher Freddie Dulce. Don't remember Freddie, unfortunately. And then Jordan Diaz. He's the younger brother of current A's infielder Jordan Diaz. Not very original with the names in the Diaz family, but they produced some pretty good ball players. But yeah, Rodriguez, $1.1 million. Simon, $500,000. Guerrero, $400,000. Alex Rodriguez, $300,000. And then Torres got $300,000. Yeah, Acuna, Luis Angel Acuna wasn't a huge signee. I think he was $100,000 guy. Ruben Odor was a $400,000 guy. And then you look around at these $10,000 signees. Emiliano Teodo, $10,000. Winston Santos, $10,000. Ezekiel Duran with the Yankees, $10,000. So you're going to find guys throughout your pool. A lot of them aren't going to make it. But most of them aren't going to make it. But there are, I saw some people like, well, the Rangers don't have a great class. Check back in 3 years. Let's see how good it is. So anyway, now we can do Cody.
Yeah, we'll get Cody in here. One thing, we're going to give a congratulations to Tyler Danberg. He was just hired. He's assistant to Zach Bigley out for the Frisco Rough Riders. Going to be doing some play-by-play out there. Unfortunately for me, he's been doing work with the Ohio State Buckeyes, who took my Longhorns out pretty handily last week. By far away the better team on that game. It was a good game until the end, but proud of my Horns anyway. You enjoyed it because you always hate the Longhorns or like the Longhorns to lose. So
I do. And I just thought, Ohio State was just
we're clicking on all cylinders right now.
I thought they kind of controlled the game, especially in the first half, and I thought the screenplay at the end of the first half was a killer for your guys, and then that second and goal play. That
was the game.
You can second guess all you want, but that's probably where Arch Manning should have been in the game. If you're asking me.
The moment they tried to do the sweep to the outside, the moment that play was over, that's when I said this isn't going to happen. When you're on the 1 yard line, you got to at least do two up the middles from the 1 yard line and try to get in. You don't second down, try to get you to sweep out to the outside. You make them stop you twice, then you start trying to get creative, right? So,
especially when the defense is as fast as Ohio State is, and it wasn't there was no misdirection. It was just a straight toss. I was like, okay, that's not a good play.
Nope, it was. All right, guys. Well, listen, right after this, we're going to bring in Tyler Danberg, by the way, the new guy with the Frisco Rough Riders. Congratulations to him. But Cody Bradford's going to join us. He'll be here right after this. Okay, guys, and joining us right now from his home is Texas Rangers left-handed pitcher Cody Bradford. Cody, what's up, man?
Hey, thanks for having me on again.
You're kind of an off-season regular now. Last year, you were moving into a house and had to dip into a closet while the contractors were there. But saw the tweet or the Instagram post of you throwing against the door with your little dog there. So it seems like you've found a home, you and your wife.
Yeah, we found a home, and we've taken down the Christmas tree too. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
wondering if that was a little too late. I don't know.
And we just hadn't
Catholic.
got around to it. We just kind of left it up, and we kind of liked the lights that were on it. So we were just like, yeah, we're in no rush. But yeah, that's what we did on the snow day: is throw against the mattress up against the front door.
Okay, that's what it was. I had to ask. It looked like a mattress. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Was that a regular baseball you were throwing?
No, it was a plyo ball. I had some plyo balls here at the house that I was throwing into that mattress.
In the interest of full disclosure, one of our Christmas trees remains up, but all the ornaments have been taken off. Just my wife really loves the tree, so she's going to keep it up for a little while, and it's a pretty good light source. So
it is. Yeah, that's why we had it, because it was in a hallway where there's not a lot of natural light, and so we would just turn it on at night, and it was great.
I think we stumbled onto something here, Cody. It's a good trend.
I think so.
My full disclosure, my full disclosure, we still have lights on the outside, but we have a guy that comes and puts them up and takes them down. So he's just snow day away, so he's got to come out and take them all down.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't need to be on any roofs or ladders doing that stuff.
Oh, I quit that.
Neither does Cody.
No.
So Cody, sorry I missed you. I saw you Sunday at Globe Life Field for the Josh Young backyard battle, and that's pretty tough stuff. It looks like.
Yeah, I've never had a ton of experience throwing a like one of those wiffle balls. Of course, everybody's throwing a wiffle ball of some kind.
Yeah.
But I'm used to the ones with the holes all the way around it, and you just throw it and they go straight. And those ones with the 8 holes on one side and it's solid on the other. I was practicing last week over in the pitching lab in Arlington, because I brought a couple to the field. And Josh had said, hey, we might do this, maybe see if you can throw strikes. So I'm like, all right, I'm getting in that lab. I'm going to learn how to throw a strike with this thing. I'm going to learn how to throw nasty sliders and change-ups and whatnot. And I figured out how to throw a slider and like a curveball with it. And then we get out there on Sunday, and the pro wiffle ball guys brought sandpaper and all this stuff to scuff the balls certain ways.
Are you serious?
Yeah. It was in the little bucket that they had. There was like 3 or 4 different grits of sandpaper that they were using on that thing. And it changed the direction of the flight of the ball. And so I got out there. I had no idea where the ball was going. I couldn't throw it straight to save my life. No idea. But yeah, it was humbling. A couple of times I did throw a wiffle ball over the plate. They hit it for a home run over there in the fan section. So it was pretty humbling. But it was a lot of fun to see Adolis and Jonah and Josh, and he brought his brother Jace, and then even Colton Cowser came with the Orioles. So it was a great group of guys out there.
And they struggled too. I mean, the
hitting part looked even harder than the pitching part. I mean, that ball was. They threw one to Adolis that started 15 feet in the air and dropped straight down. It was crazy.
Right. And then with the way the strike zone is, it's kind of like one of these windows. If it hits any part of it, and that Adolis pitch, hit the very top of it after it had gone past him, basically at eye level, if not higher, and he let it go because he's like, that's a ball.
Which is an interesting point. It's an interesting point you bring up, because I had just heard the other day that during spring training, they're going to start the challenge system.
Really?
For some of the spring training games. And so it's going to be maybe the robotic zone, and the umpires are calling balls and strikes, and then the guys can challenge, kind of like in AAA 2 years ago when I was there. That's what it was. And there are some pitches that you would not think, from sitting in the dugout or even as a hitter or even as a pitcher, you wouldn't think are strikes. But because that zone is there, they are. So it's really interesting. It's going to it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah. Did you rehab last year down there? And
not in AAA. I had two AA rehab appearances.
Okay. All right. Yeah. No, John and I were in Round Rock in I don't know. It was May, and the end of May 31st. Yeah. And there was one. I think Dustin Harris had taken the pitch, and it was called a ball, and they challenged it, and like the smallest part of the ball was barely touching the low outside corner, and so that was it. That bat was over.
It's a cool replay system that you see on the stadium. It's like if you've ever watched a tennis match on TV, and they zoom into the ball where it's the shadow of where it hits and the ball. It's really interesting, and it zooms in, And if a sliver of that thing is touching it, strike. So, yeah.
All right. So that said, are you for or against automated balls and strikes?
I think I'm against. As a pitcher, the zone in AAA is it's a lot smaller than it was in the big leagues. So,
yeah, and you see these. I think it affects hitters. They just take pitches
and pitchers.
I think it takes away some of the aggressiveness, and you see some inflated walk totals down there. That's just me, but yeah, I'm against it too. But I do like the challenge system. I like last year when poor old Wyatt and Angel Hernandez, each one kept getting worse and worse and worse. You had to. You got to be like, all right, we got to do something about this.
It's cool. It gives a little bit of power to the players to hold the umpires accountable. And it's not a knock on the umpires, but it's cool that it puts it back into the players' hands, essentially. So that's pretty cool.
Okay. All right. So since last we've had you on, you've completed a full season, although you were hurt for some of it, and not an arm injury, a crazy little rib/back injury. So taking away the injury, your results were very good. How did you feel about your pitching when you were able to pitch?
Yeah, when I took the mound last year, for the most part, I felt confident in my abilities and my body, and just tried to get as many guys out as possible every outing.
What made a difference for you? It seemed like you added a curveball in spring training, that you were just maybe a get you over pitch, or just trying to a little different look.
Yeah. Coming into last spring, Mike Maddox had mentioned, hey, you might want to add a curveball to your repertoire, Cody. I think it'd play well off your high fastball, probably, be a good third pitch for you. Had experimented, been throwing a slider, and had experimented with a cutter-ish thing, and not great results on those. The hitters just weren't showing what we were looking for. And it's like, well, Mike, I actually threw a curveball in college. It was a pretty good one. I think it had good results, got swing and misses. He's like, well, why'd you stop throwing it? I'm like, well, I had TOS surgery. When I came back, I kind of lost the feel for it. And then the one I ended up figuring out how to throw again, the analytics said it was terrible pitch. Don't throw it. It won't work. Won't work. Yeah. So, I didn't throw it. I learned how to throw a slider and a cutter thing. So, anyway, spent all last offseason. He's like, well, it doesn't need to be a banger. It doesn't need to be a certain velo. I don't care about the analytics. Something that moves like this and something that's in the strike zone. And I said, okay, yes, sir. I'll figure that out. And came to spring, and every outing, as the pitch counts, grew a little bit, we were able to sprinkle in some more, and got up to where we're throwing, 15, 16, 20 curveballs a game, and took that into the season. It really did make a difference. It was a pitch that at the beginning of the year was getting a lot of auto takes. It was just so different out of the hand. Of course, it's not on scouting reports, and the hitters are just kind of, I remember literally in my first start, I think in the first or second batter, I think I threw it to Suzuki with the Cubs. I remember he like took it, kind of buckled it for a sec, and then kind of looked back at the dugout like, hey, what was that? Wasn't on there. It wasn't on the scouting report. But anyways, no, it was a good pitch. And then as the year went on, the more you throw a pitch and the more you have success with it, the higher your confidence is, and the greater your ability to throw it in 2-strike counts, or in counts that you wouldn't start it off with. So it was a good, took pressure off the fastball and the changeup, and it was a great third pitch for me last year.
Yeah. Okay, so are you working on anything this offseason? And not to give away the goods here, but 3 pitches. I don't know if you need a fourth.
Yeah, I think I think a guy in my situation probably does need a fourth pitch, especially against lefties. I might not rely as heavily on a curveball to a lefty as I would a righty. So I'm just trying to refine the slider, cutter shape of both of those pitches, maybe trying to combine them to make a little bit harder slider, cutter thing, whatever you want to call it. But really, I'm just working on building foundational strength to stay healthy. I obviously nobody wants a recurring injury, and this freak injury is like a glove side rib injury is. I want to try and prevent that. So building a lot of core strength and stability from the ground up is my focus this offseason.
Yeah. When I hurt my back, it's been 10 years now, 11 years. The core stuff, you learn so much about it, and just even kind of the way you breathe when you exercise can help build strength in your core. It's pretty fascinating, and you don't realize until you can't do anything with your back how involved your back is in everything.
Right.
Everything you do. I mean, it's not fun having a back issue, and but you got to stay on top of it. And it sounds like that's what you're doing. Okay, so spring training is coming up. We got the Fan Fest first. You've seen what the rotation landscape looks like. It was huge bringing back Evaldi, I thought. Mm-hmm. So I got to think you guys feel pretty good about 8 guys.
Yeah, I think I mean, I'd say going in this year we have more depth than we had last year for sure. And how that all falls out, it's not for me to say or who knows. Right. But I think internal competition is always a good thing. It's always going to bring out the best of everybody. So it'll be an exciting spring. And you're right. As soon as Evaldi got signed, everybody in the group chat was just congratulating him. Hey, welcome back. We're so happy to have you back. Like I was ecstatic to have him back. I mean, that dude's a leader on and off the field and just a really good veteran presence in the clubhouse.
I mean, he jokes about it now openly with us about how he loves to watch bullpens, and
he does.
But it seems like he's not just there. He's there to help you or to help whoever. He's not afraid to give feedback on something he might see. Has there been an instance where he's like, "Hey, try this or try that"?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but like he said, he likes to watch bullpens. It's not him just flattering, the media or saying that. He really does stand in for a lot of bullpens and will stand right behind the pitcher or in there kind of just listening, what Mike is saying and what the pitcher's doing. But there's been multiple times last year when he was talking about, hey, like the reason he comes over his head is, some core stuff and some posturing, as he's moving down the mound and just bouncing ideas off guys like, hey, maybe you could try this. Maybe you could try this to speed up your delivery, maybe a better slide step, where's your hand when you're thinking about it? He's really good at being intentional with the younger guys and me included. So it's great to have him back.
Yeah, I thought it was critical. And, there's some people who are like, oh, well, being a teammate, there are a lot of good teammates. He just seems to take it to a different level. It's like, it's one of one. It's just a unique thing. Mm-hmm. You don't.
And it doesn't seem like he has to go out of his way to do it. It's natural for Evo to just to care about you as a person and to care about you as a player as well.
Sounds like he could be a great coach one day. But he's got 3 more years to pitch at least. Maybe more. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So when will you head to Arizona? Are you a get there early guy, or now that you're I don't want to say you're established. I'm sure you don't feel that way, but been in the big leagues before. Maybe you show up the day before. What are your plans?
Yeah, I think in the past I was a get out there early, just because Maddie and I were usually in Waco during the off seasons, and I'd be throwing bullpens at Baylor, and kind of around the end of January, beginning of February, that's when the players down there, start really going heavily into team practices, and so there's less and less availability for me to throw to a catcher or to use the facilities without, bumping into, some of the college players that are there. But this year, I think being in Arlington and getting to work out at the stadium, we'll probably go out just a day or two before the report date. And everything we have is still in Arlington, so there's no need to rush out there.
Right. It was pretty interesting because where my son, he plays the facility, it's not far from where the two of us live, and Robbie Ahlstrom is working out there. He has friends from Oregon who live in the area, so he's staying with them, and he's been throwing bullpens during my son's lessons on Mondays, and he has a high school kid catching for him. And I really think that the first time he didn't get the best receiving. but it's gotten better. But it you know, I'm assuming you don't want me catching, and I don't want to catch it, but like you got to have somebody who at least has and this high school kid seems to be pretty solid. He gives catching lessons at the facility, but it just seems to be like you can't have your dad anymore go out there and catch for you. You got to have somebody who can give you feedback. What do you look for in an off-season catcher?
Yeah, I mean, I think coming through the minor leagues, you kind of do it all. Sometimes your catcher is a fence, sometimes it's a brick wall, sometimes it's a 9-pocket net, and then sometimes it's a person. And when it's a person, that's a great day. So you can't be too picky during the off season, depending on your situation and your location. But ideally, you have a guy back there who's at least played high school ball and feels comfortable, catching some breaking balls and baseballs that are going to be moving with a little bit of velocity on it. And so I think during the offseason receiving, you're not too worried about that as a pitcher. You're just trying to make sure you're healthy and the ball's coming out good.
Okay. All right. And then just one last one for me. When you guys see as players see Evaldi resign, but then see Jock Peterson and Jake Berger get acquired and Higashioka and all these relievers, does it fire you up? Does it tell you, hey, the ownership and the front office, they're ready to let us go to war and have our best chance?
Yeah, it sends a message to not just the fans, but it sends a message to the rest of the guys on the team that CY and Ray Davis and the leadership group of the Rangers, like they want to win, and so they're trying to supplement the players into the organization that they think fits best and is going to give us that chance. And so it's exciting to have ownership that still wants to win and is willing to open up the checkbook a little bit to get that done. And so, sure, it's a great feeling.
All right, John, you got some hunting questions, I'm assuming for Cody.
Yeah. Did you do any hunting?
I did. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Did you get anything?
I did. This year, I guess last year when I talked to y'all, I went on my first elk hunt ever up in Colorado with my dad, my father-in-law, my two brother-in-laws. And this year we did the same thing. We did the same hunt, but we also had a deer tag. And so I ended up getting a mule deer buck, and then we harvested another cow elk as well. And so our freezer is really full. And we split it in half between Maddie's side of the family and my family, but half an elk and half a mule deer is a lot of meat.
Oh my gosh.
It is. My brother-in-law, he didn't go to Colorado, but he got him a deer of some sort and maybe a couple. And they had so much meat. And so we have tons of it. And whoever processed it made this delicious sausage.
Oh,
it's so good. Yeah. It's fantastic. I think I said this on the show last week. My sister and brother-in-law live in Loveland, Colorado, which is kind of at the foot of the northern foothills.
I've skied there.
No, not different Loveland. Okay. And then they have a herd of elk that every day comes through their neighborhood.
Wow.
And I mean, it's not like just a couple. It's like 50 elk.
Yeah,
that's just they come down because the snow is covering their food, so they come down in a nice meadow and they just hang out there all day. It's unbelievable that these beautiful beasts are right there.
Yeah,
they're walking their front yard. I mean,
and that's what makes elk hunting really hard. Something I've learned, something we've all learned, or me, everybody who's been on the hunt the past 2 years have learned is like as soon as the first few snows come in Colorado, those elk start dribbling out of the mountains, trying to get to lower elevation where there's no snow, more vegetation. And a lot of times that's neighborhoods and golf courses. Well, you can't go hunt on hole 8, of the golf course. So
right.
unless they're on public land up in the mountains, you're out of luck. And so we end up finding a lot of elk just driving through town. And it's really fun to go see some big bulls in town on the golf courses and stuff, and just dream about, man, what if they were, a couple miles up in the mountains and in front of them. But it's a good time. It makes it tough though. It makes it challenging.
And it's west of Vale, right? In Beaver Creek, right? Isn't that where you guys go?
The last 2 years we've been over in Eagle, Colorado.
Yeah, Eagle.
And then as well as then we shoot over to Jefferson, Colorado as well.
Okay.
And we do a little bit of both, but there's a lot of opportunity. I think my bucket list is to try and get an elk in maybe every Western state, and so we got one and a bull too. So I haven't killed a bull yet, but I'd love to do Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico. It's really fun, and it's definitely a big passion of mine.
Cool.
Well, I've been to Idaho, and you talk about them coming into the neighborhood. I went to Idaho with some friends, and we were just there during the summer, and we went up to visit them. They had moved from our neighborhood, and I was sitting in the backyard, and a dadgum moose walked up because they were in a drought. And he walked up, and they had one of those koi ponds, and he was coming to drink water out of the koi pond. This thing was 15 feet from me, and I looked up, and I just started moonwalking back inside the door. And my son was with me. Who's now a senior in high school. He's my youngest, and he was fixing to run outside. We were going to toss the football around, and I'm like, "Everybody, get back in!" This thing was huge.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah,
moose are big.
Yeah, they're big, and they can be territorial and kind of dangerous.
Yeah,
right. So we're headed to Idaho. We're headed to Idaho this summer. Actually, going to do some trout fishing. So.
Oh, I heard that's good too. Okay, so let's get into a couple of your teammates too. But I did have to point this out. Now, you said you throw into a 9-hole net. You throw to a catcher. You also throw it to a mattress, as a lot of people saw. Where was it? Is that like what's that mattress from?
It was just a spare mattress. I think Maddie's parent, when we had moved in, they'd come up for a weekend, and one of her brothers came with them, and they just brought an extra mattress that they had laying around the house, and now it's laying around our house. It's just an extra bed and an extra bedroom. So it's just laying on the floor.
Yeah,
we're just decluttering, Cody. They were decluttering. Yeah. That's all that was. Right. That's all that was. Right. It worked out for you, but make no mistake, it was decluttering. Whenever your parents say, "Hey, you want these this set of plates?" No, I don't.
If I can throw a baseball to it, sure, maybe. But the mattress worked out.
So,
what's the dog's name?
That's Poppy. She's a little mini dachshund, miniature dachshund that we got actually when we were rehabbing last year. So she's about 8 or 9 months old now, but she's a good dog.
She wanted that ball too. She wanted that ball.
She did, and it was scaring me on some of the heavier plyo balls. She doesn't know, that they're that heavy, and so I actually threw one of them, and it kind of rebounded off of there, and she goes up like, "Oh, I'm going to get that ball," and it just kind of takes her whole body, She was fine. She rolled over and walked it off, and her tail's wagging. She's just having a great time. So
that's awesome, man. We have 3 dogs. My wife wants 10 more. We just don't have the room, or we don't want to pay those vet bills. But
I've got
dogs
2.
are the best.
I've got 2, and then my daughter brings the grand dog over all the time too. So I've got plenty of that.
There you go.
So listen, when you head up, Maddie, does she spend the whole time? Who are you going to room with this time? I know you were rooming with Wenzel. Who are you going to room with now?
Well, Maddie will also come out again with spring training. We make that trip together, and we've been really blessed to have the opportunity to travel mostly together throughout minor leagues and the big league. She pretty much goes on all the road trips with me, which is awesome. This year we're actually still going to room with Wenzel. He's with Cincinnati now. Their spring training facility is about 15-20 minutes south of Surprise, and so we're still going to room with him. Yeah.
How's he doing? Because we love Davis.
Man, Dave's doing good. Him and his wife Rachel are out in San Clemente, California, south of the fire. So they're unaffected by that, which is great. And they got a baby number 2 coming on the way in March. So right around that spring training time, he'll be having his second son during spring training.
Yeah, I remember seeing Knight. Knight was the first one, or is the first one.
That's right.
Well, good. He's a good dude. We miss him.
Yeah.
I don't mean to put you on the spot, but are there any young Bradfords going to be coming around anytime in the next year or two?
Hopefully so. Hopefully so. Lord willing. So we're praying for it, and we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, John, did you accumulate the questions, compile the
Yeah, I
questions?
just had a couple that did it.
Questions for you.
Yeah, just a couple of them. It was kind of last minute. I thought, oh yeah, we got Cody coming on, and we just got that confirmed. One is obviously a believer who said, we've heard you say this before, but someone's actually asking and said, ask him how his faith in Christ helps him through the ups and downs of the baseball season.
Yeah, it's a great question. It's something that I've been asked before. I think it's interesting. I answered a question similar to this not that long ago. But if happiness is your end goal, and you think baseball is going to bring you happiness, then you're probably in for a big surprise. Because like the question said, like there's ups and downs to it, and just like any career or any job, really. So where you find your identity is it's gonna reflect what you truly believe and reflect what you put your value in. And so if I, as a baseball player, put my value in, my ability or inability to get professional hitters out, that's going to reflect pretty poorly off the field and how I interact with others and how I love my wife and what I truly believe. And so my faith in Christ, understanding that my eternal hope is to be in an eternal presence with God one day after I die, kind of sets the stage for just having a different perspective on life. And I think some people grasp that, and to some people it's like, man, that's just kind of weird. I don't vibe with that. I'd rather just do me and play baseball, or just keep rooting on the Cowboys or whatever it may be. But for me personally, faith is a really important part, if not the most important part of life. So,
well, I mean, we see it on Sunday mornings during the season. We walk into the clubhouse and at least half the team's missing because they're in chapel. It seems like there are a lot of people on your team who carry the same belief.
Yeah, I hope so, and I think there's a lot of guys who definitely have questions and are looking for answers too.
That's okay.
And that's okay, and that's great. That's amazing. We have to be able to ask questions and have to be able to have conversations like that to be human beings. That's what sets us apart from other species. But I think God's moving, and it's a really beautiful thing to see other guys curious and asking questions.
As Benny Bullock asked that question, he's one of our watchers, and he's always asking questions. So he thanks Benny for the question.
Yeah, thank you, Benny.
Yeah, he's a really good guy. And I'm a believer too. And you and I have talked about it before, Cody, a few times. I actually teach Sunday school every Sunday morning too. Right now, though, I've gone down to the babies. My wife and I do the toddlers. And what's great now, and you're not a dad yet, but Jeff is, at our church, the men aren't allowed to change diapers. That's just an added bonus that since I know how to change diapers, I'm not allowed. So it's totally cool. I get my fix on grandchildren since I don't have any yet. That's what I get.
There you go.
I love it. I've said this all along. As a believer myself, and we're all flawed in our own way, and it's we're forgiven for all of that. And I'm not here to preach because I'm not that. But if anyone ever wanted to ask, I could sit down and talk to you. But I just people that do believe and do that seem to have a little bit of a. I mean, we all know eventually if it's left up to somebody that we deem God, leave it up to them, then we're going to get our answer whether we like the answer or not, and I'm at peace with that. That's the way I feel about it personally. Now, Charles Golden wants to ask you, he said, is there a difference in preparing for this season as opposed to last, considering you sure seem like you're going to have a rotation spot pretty much locked up?
Oh, I hope I do. I mean, that's my hope, but I'm not going to live or die by that decision, at the end of spring training. So at the end of the day, I'm preparing to go earn a spot in spring training, just like I was last year. And whether that's in the rotation or in the bullpen or wherever it may be, I'm going to give it my best shot. And, however the cards fall, I'm going to be able to live with that. So,
last year, and you've said this even the year before that, and Andrew Heaney said it too. He's like, I don't care where I pitch. I just want to help the team.
Right.
And it, I know that there are guys who want to be in the major leagues as opposed to the minor leagues, but I don't think that's lip service from you guys. I think, help this team win.
Yeah. I think, part of the teachings of Jesus is to be a servant. And I just want to serve the team well, serve the organization well. God's put everybody in a place for a reason, and the Rangers have graciously given me an opportunity to pitch at the big league level. And if that continues, then I want to work my tail off and be the best servant I can in whatever role that looks like, whether it's bullpen, starting, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, you're a pretty dang good starter last year. You don't necessarily go about it the way that you see a lot of these young guys coming up do. But the one thing the Rangers always say about you is they have no questions at your preparedness. You're always prepared. Yeah, I know you keep a log. I don't know what you keep in it, but when does that preparation start? After one start, do you start the next day looking at the other club, or remembering things from the night before? How does that come together?
Yeah, as a starter, you have the opportunity to, as soon as you come in the next day, you're going to be taking the ball 5 days from now. So you know who you're going to be playing, you know where it's going to be, and you can get a feel for the lineup. If you're a lefty, you can go see who they're going to put in there against lefties. And so it starts the next day, and we'll start doing an advanced scouting report. And, you can't necessarily, you can't control a lot of things in baseball. You can't control, really what happens after the ball leaves your hand as a pitcher. One thing you can control is how prepared you are. And so me personally, I'm going to make sure I'm prepared and give my teammates, the best chance to win the game. And for me, that involves advanced scouting and knowing what I want to do with each hitter.
Awesome.
Well, I got to tell one fun story about Cody. I already kind of told him about this, and I never mentioned where anyone lives, but Cody lives where a lot of my old friends live, where him and his wife bought their new house and built their new house. And I kind of told Cody about this funny story. One of my friends knows that I have something to do with the Rangers, and I get to meet a lot of the players and do something. And he goes, "Hey, man, I swear I was playing pickleball one night, and I don't know who he was, but there was a guy, I guarantee you he was a Texas Ranger." And I go, "Was it Cody Bradford?" He goes, "Yes, that was him." I go, "Yeah, he built a house down there." So I know he said, "God, he's one of the nicest guys." And I said, "Cody is Super A, one of the nicest." Did I tell you about that already?
I think so. I think you might have mentioned it. And yeah, my wife and I we love playing pickleball. And we found the local park here in our town. It's got without saying exactly where we live, I guess, has a pickleball court. And so we'll just go over there and play. And if somebody else shows up or if some people are out there playing, we'll just say, "Hey, you guys want to play doubles? You want to play?" And
yep.
You don't just go out and say, "Oh, I'm so and so and I play for the Rangers. You want to play pickle?" You just treat everybody as normal people. You can just be a normal person. We're normal people.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
And I think he just kind of asked what you did, or somehow you hinted without saying, "I play for the Texas Rangers." By the end, he realized, "Oh, wait, I think he plays for the Rangers." So he came and asked me about it. And I said,
funny.
And I said, "Was it Cody Bradford?" And he goes, "That's who it was. That's who it was." And I go, "Oh, yeah. He built a house down there. I know Cody. He's a good guy. You'll like him." Jeff, you got anything else for him?
I bet your wife's a good little pickleball player.
I bet she is.
She's a great pickleball player. My wife's a better athlete than I am. Way better natural athlete than I am. So she's quick and she's got good hand-eye coordination. She's a good player.
Yeah, that's
it's good too for a little competition for us older guys. Pickleball is really fun because you don't put a lot of stress on your knees and everything. You don't have to run the baseline like tennis and all that. It's kind of fun, and it's the competitive juices that are fun. Get them going again.
It is, yeah.
I got a friend who works in a hospital, and we were talking at dinner the other night about pickleball, and my wife said something like, "Oh, you're not going to get her playing pickleball," and she said that the number one like emergency in their hospital is from pickleball.
Wow.
People like tearing their ACLs and Achilles.
Wow.
Maybe it's not number one. I mean, probably heart attack is number one. But like
those guys,
there are a lot of people
who come in
to their emergency room who are recovering from pickleball injuries. So watch out.
Yeah.
Don't go too fast.
There's got to be an age correlation there somewhere, I would think. But
I would totally agree with that. Someone like me could easily tear something up on a pickleball court, being as big, and I'm on the process of losing weight now, but being bigger and older, we just don't move like we did when we were Cody's age. So
Right.
those old legs might give out on me. That's certainly true. Jeff, you got anything? Let's get him out of here.
Yeah, it's been a long time. So thanks for taking all this time, man. We always appreciate it. We're looking forward to this season. You're going to be at Fan Fest. You know what time you're going to be at Fan Fest?
I believe 12:30 is my start time. So I'm not sure when it ends, but 12:30, I think, on Saturday.
12:30 Saturday. All right, yeah, that's a great day. That's like the kickoff to the season. After that, it goes real quick. So
that's right.
Well, Cody, we'll see you for sure in spring training. Might see you around there working out if we get over there for anything, and y'all guys are there. But if not, we'll see you in spring training. Guys, thanks for everybody for being a part of this one. For Cody Bradford, Jeff Wilson, I'm John Moore. Until next week, guys, we'll see you at the yard.